I'm starting off this episode 17 of the Tumalip podcast, with no music on for a very specific reason. For a very specific reason. And you can all brace yourselves because you know what's coming. You want to know why? Well, here it is. As Stephen A. Smith just put it, I am having a very bad day! I'm not in the mood to play with anybody right now. Honestly. I still can't get over it. I still can't get over how in the world Russell Wilson's able to get out of the pocket on 3rd and 16 and make a play. I still don't understand how the football got. Damn it! Why does it have to be Seattle? Always when we play Seattle, we get cursed. Every single time we play them, something goes wrong. If you are a Niners fan, last night's game was the equivalent of being kidnapped, locked in the basement, kicked around a bunch of times, and then they let you out when you have no use to anybody anymore. How does this happen? Every single time. I mean, every time this happens. Why does it always have to be them? I just don't understand. And I realize, too, if you're a Niners fan, today's a great day to laugh. Today's a great day to laugh at them. But this isn't funny. This was supposed to be a coronation. This was supposed to be a celebration of everything good. And then Russell Wilson just had to go out and just ruin everything like he always does. I literally sat there for an hour last night. And I literally couldn't sleep. I lost sleep over this. I don't normally lose sleep. I don't normally lose sleep over these kind of things. I just don't understand it. And I tell you right now, I got no qualms with anybody right now. I'm not in the mood for anybody right now. I'm not in the mood. Because nobody ever cares about the 49ers. I'd much rather stand in front of a fan right now and just shove my face into it. How many times do we have to sit there? It just analyzed for hours on end. How Russell Wilson continues to just be the clutch player that he is. How much more do we have to deal with that? I mean, it just never ends. Because now you look at it, the playoff race is completely changed. The playoff race has been completely changed now. I mean, if the Niners had won last night, had the Niners won last night, I can't imagine what would have happened then. Will we still be sitting here talking about Russell Wilson? Will we still be sitting here talking about the hapless Seahawks who lost at home to Baltimore and to New Orleans? And how they barely got by the Steelers and the Browns? No. They're sitting up there today talking about how Jimmy Garoppolo is the weak link in the Niners system. How is that possible? And then, of course, when the Niners cut into the 3-point lead last night, against Seattle, I thought it wasn't over. And then along comes two of my good friends from the mission, John Hannigan and Grant Smith. They said to me, John Hannigan said, Seattle's got to get another touchdown and a field goal. And even Grant said anything to beat the Seahawks. And then he says to me, Seattle, you dogs, you've done it again. The least you could have done is just check up on me afterwards. The least you could have done is show some respect to the fact that the Niners very nearly took down the Seahawks last night. Instead, I have to sit here and watch you guys gloat over for the next 5 weeks. If you are a Seahawks fan, or if you are not a 49ers fan, you make me sick to the stomach. I can't stand any of yous right now. This is a horrendous day. This is a horrendous day for me as a 49ers fan. And I don't care what anybody says, I got an attitude with all of yous today. San Francisco hasn't won a world title since 1994. I was not even born yet before the 49ers won their 5th world title. My dad has waited 25 years for a world title. How long do I have to wait? I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, that's what we start the show with. What else am I going to say? What else do you want me to say about the 49ers? What else? What else do you want me to say about the Seahawks that I haven't already said? I'm just gonna say it straight up right now. I hate the Seattle Seahawks. You could go on and on. I could go on and on with the glowing attributes about Russell Wilson and his ability to get and his ability to create plays on the fly. I could go on for hours and hours and hours with this. But I'm not going to. The Seahawks are dirty. They disgust me. And they are not the best team in the NFC West. Not by a long shot. Not by a long shot. I mean, how in the world could you sit here and tell me that the Seahawks are the better team than the 49ers in the NFL right now? That's not true. That is simply not true. And I'm not making any excuses. I'm not making any excuses for the Niners, though, last night. They did not let themselves off the hook. They had drops. They had problems on offense. And their normally reliable defense broke down in certain situations. But from now on, I don't want to hear any more crap about Seattle and how we can't beat them and how we can't beat a real team. Heck, Seattle couldn't even blow out a real team if they saw one. Lest I remind you, it took them overtime to beat Tampa Bay. It took them a late touchdown to beat Cleveland, and it took them another late fourth down conversion to beat Pittsburgh. And let me remind you, they also lost to Baltimore and New Orleans at home. Two teams we're going to play later. Do you really think that Seattle is better than us because they've beaten a tougher schedule? Because they have better talent than us? No. That is simply not true. That is not true. And I'm going to say it right now, Seattle's not going to make the playoffs. The Seahawks are 8-2 right now, but they're not going to make the playoffs. They're too inconsistent. They're just simply too inconsistent. They play too much good cop, bad cop in too many situations. Let's compare the remaining schedule. After a bye, the Seahawks have the Eagles, the Vikings, the Panthers, and then the Rams and the Cardinals, and then us. I could see them losing 3 of their next 6 games. If they go 3-3, they'll be 11-5. But by some chance, they could still lose to the Panthers. Or to the Cardinals. Or even to the, heaven forbid, they could lose to the Rams. They go on a 4-game losing streak, they ain't going to be in the playoffs. They're not going to the playoffs. I just still can't get over what's it going to take to beat Seattle. Do we have to knock Russell Wilson out? Do we have to maybe take Chris Carson's legs out from under? Do we have to put a chop block on Jadeveon Clowney? Or run over DK Metcalf or something? I'm going to tell you right now, I got an attitude with every person that's a Seahawks fan right now. Especially John Hennigan. I knew that guy. John is a good man. He's a wonderful husband. But brother, if you're from California, you better damn sure represent the 49ers. Otherwise, you have no damn business being in California. Most nauseating fan base I have to deal with is the Seattle Seahawks. Sans the Dallas Cowboys. The Patriots, I can't hate because they back up their talk. They know what they're doing. So why don't we? You're a Seahawks fan, you make me sick. You nauseate me to the very core. Because it's always a day to laugh. It's always a laughing day when it's the 49ers that lose. Now everybody's jumping on the bandwagon saying we're overrated. Everybody's jumping on the bandwagon saying we're overrated. We can't play anybody. We can't beat a real team. I just don't understand what's going on. The football gods just always seem to curse us whenever we play Seattle. And that I don't understand.
Ah!
I can't understand it. The football gods just curse us every time we play Seattle. I don't understand why. How much more longer do we have to suffer? I mean, if I could right now, I'll just describe all of the emotions that are going through my head, but I can't do it without expressing my anger here on FCC mitigated airwaves, basically. Let's just talk about more positive things now, shall we? Or rather, not about positive things. It just seems like everything is negative today for some reason. And the only reason why is because it's been a slow news day. It has been a slow news day, other than the fact of the atrocities that occurred last night. Or if you're listening to this later, or something like that, I don't know what you're doing. That was, however, until... I'm sorry for the long pause. That was, however, until I saw this. I don't mean to bring up something miserable and something terrible, but the politics in our country has just gotten out of control. It really has gotten out of control. I can't think of one day that goes by where I don't hear about something coming up from politics. And I really don't care about it. I really don't care because A, we're not supposed to be involved in it anyways, members of the church, and B, it doesn't affect my life. It doesn't affect my life at all. I never sided with any political party. I never sided with any side of fans because I know that deep down, none of that really ever matters. Just like the Seahawks will never ever matter. I mean, you won one Super Bowl, so what? That doesn't make you automatically relevant. Anyway, I was taking a gander at this. I was taking a gander at this, and I'm just, I'm just amazed that so many people can get so stuck up in politics nowadays. Like, it doesn't even matter. None of that even matters. I mean, how much, how much do I hear these days of people in politics these days handing, and then the news media gives us those problems that are in politics, and they're just handing it out to us as free news. Free news. It's good to read. It's good to listen to. But where are the solutions? There are no solutions. There is no solutions coming out of politics these days, and it saddens me. It's the same thing with these so-called fans that I keep running into. Of course, yes. Okay. I will say this just before I continue. Whoever watched the 49ers Seahawks game, please don't put it on Jimmy Garoppolo. Please do not blame him for this. It is not his damn fault neither way. I could count you how many drops on two hands, how many drops the receivers had last night. On both of my hands, how many drops the receivers had last night. It's not his fault. It never has been his fault. Don't put it on Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo, I know people are going to say Jimmy Garoppolo's a weakling. Jimmy Garoppolo's a weakling. Heck, Garoppolo wasn't even relevant until he stepped into this spotlight. At least he's accountable. He's accountable. He owns up to his mistakes. He knows what he did wrong. He goes back and corrects it. Same thing happened this year against the Panthers. What did he do after he threw the interception? He went right back to work. And then he just led the drive right down the field on the very next possession after the field goal. And then he led the 49ers to a 51-13 win. They adjust. That's the beauty of this 49ers team. They adjust. The Seahawks don't adjust. They just keep pounding and pounding away at you until you break. So why do you think they've lost 2 games this season? Why do you think they've lost to the Ravens and the Saints? They don't make adjustments. Besides, you can't ever trust an offensive coordinator with a name like Schottenheimer. You can't. Because I don't know if he's related to Marty Schottenheimer. His relative Schottenheimer was terrible, so why you trust Brian Schottenheimer? Anyway. I mean, it's sad just hearing about this. Just hearing about all this stuff that's going on as far as they think they have the solution, and it's like, okay, I don't see any solution coming out of that. Sorry, I'm just... What... I mean, it's just... I'm sorry for the long pause right there. I was watching this program my good friend was on this past week. I mean, there are no solutions these days. Everybody thinks they have the solutions. They don't have it. And that's the truth. What the heck is... I mean... What... I just don't understand this. Why are we... There are just no good things. There are just no good things anymore. There's nothing that's ever come good out, that's gotten good out of politics. There's nothing ever good that's come out of sports these days. I still follow it. But, it's terrible for me to do it. Some days because I can't stand the so-called experts who think they know everything. That's the trouble when you have, friends that are into sports like that. They're going to rail on you. And today is always a good day to laugh because the Niners lost. There is nothing good coming out of being a sports fan these days. Because you always hear, this is this, or this is this, or this is that, or this is that. And the same thing with politics. I could go over the moon for hours and hours and hours. And I'm very, very sorry for the really, really long pauses on that segment. And of course, it'll be edited out. It will be edited out. The long pauses will be edited out of the final product. But I tell you what, right now, I saw my best friend on that program. I will not drop names. But the things they said on that show made me absolutely sick. Not only were they sick, they were wrong. They are part of the example what is going on in this world. They talk about this, they talk about it, and there's no solution on either side. No solution. They're part of the problem. Just like why do you all think I don't comment on Facebook posts? Why do you all think I don't comment on Instagram posts? There is nothing good that's going to come out of it. Whether it's sports things or anything else related to that, nothing ever comes good out of it. And I further cannot believe a member of the church is on that show either. Because I will tell you what right now, if you think you can pick a side as a member of the church and get away with it, you make me sick. You make me sick. Does it not say we are supposed to be neutral on every single matter unless it affects us? Whatever happens in this world, we cannot let it affect us. We cannot. That's how lines get drawn, that's how people fall away from the church, and that's how wars begin. I am sick of it right now. And the stuff I listen to on that show, I get it. I absolutely get it that there's these problems. But what are you guys doing to do anything about it? You share your views. You share this video, what's going on in university, great. But what's your solution? Nothing's going to get done by you complaining about it. And then they play these silly little games with these phrases. I couldn't stand it. After 9-10 minutes, I had to shut it off. It was a sickening display of everything I stand for. It really was. And even the stuff they brought up in that show, I'm going to say it right now. It's completely normal. It's completely normal to teach whatever you want in your classes. And if people don't like it, they don't like it. It's their right to speak up. But does that make it indoctrination? Does that make it forcing someone else's will upon you? Absolutely not. You chose to be there. You signed the contract. You made the choice to be in that class. You must now deal with the consequences. Period. I am not saying what they're teaching in those classes are right. I'm just saying you're in that class to learn. And whether or not you like it, you have the right to speak up. And if you don't like it, so be it. But people have their choice to say what they want to say. And if they don't like it, and if others don't like it, then it's other people's duty to stand up and speak out against it. And then it's their duty to understand why. I cannot believe they would bring up those kind of topics on that kind of a show. I cannot believe that. And if he's out, and if my best friend's out there listening to this, he knows who he is. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. Everything I stand for is everything I stand against is talked about in that radio show. That's the one reason why I will never listen to things like that. Because they're just flat out ridiculous. And that's the one reason I'm not also following the 49ers commenters. Because I cannot stand them. The main accounts, they speak truth. But all these so-called fans that come up and say they think they know better than the coaches, me included, that sickens me. And believe me, I have much more scrutiny for the Hawaii football team than I do today. Or than I do normally. Because I expect them to win. The Niners, I didn't really have good expectations coming into this season. I was expecting 9, maybe 10 wins and maybe miss the playoffs. I certainly did not expect 8-1 at this point and leading the NFC West. That I did not expect. But just, I hear... But then I listen to this, and then, the silly thing about this is, they're talking about things we're not even supposed to be talking about in the news. I mean, nobody cares about that stuff in the news. And it's not even that big of an issue. Nobody cares. Just like the Seahawks. Nobody cares about you. Nobody cares about Russell Wilson. And nobody certainly gives a darn about the radio show my best friend was on. Let me remind you, you signed the contract to be there. You signed up to be in that class, and you have to deal with the consequences. I'm not saying what they're teaching is wrong. I'm saying what they're teaching is what they want to teach. And it's what the school feels will be best for them to understand. And if that's the case, so be it. Because you know what? That's the world we live in. Deal with it or get out of the way. There is nothing good coming out of the world these days. Whether it's in sports or whether it's in the government. Or even in the media. There is nothing good coming out of anything these days. And what my best friend talked about on that radio show is completely and utterly sickening, and it is wrong. Because you know what? It does not matter what they teach in class. It does not matter what they do anywhere else in the world. It doesn't matter about anything else. And then, what do I see on his account? Plastered everywhere is something about Jeffrey Epstein. I'm just going to say it to him right now. What is wrong with you? Have you lost your bearings? And I'm going to say it to him right now. Have you even had a thought, a single thought, of trying to read the Book of Mormon lately? Have you tried anything to keep a good relationship with Heavenly Father? Because so far, it doesn't look like you've done a darn thing to do anything about it. And right now, I'm not even sure if you go to church at this point. I'm not even sure if you even go to church at this point. Do you really? Because I know, as an active member of the church, if I got an invitation to be on that darn radio show, I would say, no, sir. No, thank you. That's not what I believe in. I don't want to talk about these things with you. That's not my problem. Because it isn't. It's not. The only thing that matters to me, the only darn thing that matters, is my faith and my rock. My faith in Jesus Christ keeps me going. He helps me keep going through the hard days. And I see past everything in the secular periphery. Because you know what? This is what the prophets told us in the Book of Mormon and the Bible. We're in the last days. It's going to be like this. And nothing is going to get better. We could try. I'm not going to stop trying to make it better. I'm not going to stop trying to improve. I'm not going to stop trying to be active about things I'm passionate about. But I'm not looking to change my circumstances because of the fact I want to make the world a better place. I am changing I'm changing based on my circumstances to prepare for the second coming of Jesus Christ. That's all I care about. I'm not looking to make the world a better place. I'm just looking to prepare the way for my Savior. That's all I care about. That's all I've ever cared about, and it's all I ever will care about. So, if my best friend's listening to this, if he decides to unfriend me, decides to block me afterwards, so be it. Go ahead. I don't care. I don't care. I really don't care. Because it's just like weeding out the tares from the wheat. I got the fan in my hand. I got the fan in my hand along with this. I got the fan in my hand along with my friends. And I'm just going to go whoosh away all this stuff. Because at the end of the day, the wheat will stay, the tares will get out of there. Because we will know who is bad and who is good. I'm having a really bad day. I'm having a really, really bad day. That about sums it up. I'm glad I had this time on the podcast to get these things off my chest. Really, really angry. Really, really needed to get it off my chest here on episode 17. This is one of the worst podcasts you'll ever hear me do, and I'm sorry, I apologize. It will not happen again, but trust me, it was worth it for me to get this off my chest. It really was. And I'm sorry, Mom, but I had to do this. I'm sorry to John Hannigan and Grant Smith, but I don't give a crap about the Rams or the Seahawks. I'm a Niners fan until I die, and you'll never make me change my team. And my mom knows I'll be a Celtics fan until I die, because I'm not changing my team. And I also know I will be neutral on everything politically charged, because that's not my job. That's not my life. News media does not control me. Social media doesn't control me. Christ controls me, and he knows what I'm doing. And I know I have to do better. The full extent of my apology will be out next month, or sooner, if conditions warrant. But don't make me apologize for what I say. Because at the end of the day, the truth hurts. And you all need to hear the truth. For some reason or other, I know someone out there needed to hear the truth. And Niners fans, I'm sorry, but I had to do it. We're going to make the playoffs, I trust. I trust the fact we're going to make the playoffs. And you know what? I still think we'll go to the Super Bowl. I still think the Niners will go to the Super Bowl. They have a realistic chance. As long as the football gods don't curse us again when we play Seattle. Have a nice one.